Grace and peace, your brother Yehudah. So I want to continue a little further to elaborate on the Euphrates, Tigris, and the Iraqi marshes, or the Iraqi marshlands. So this is my book right here. Many people may have this book here. Okay, it's called the Holman Bible Atlas. The Holman Bible Atlas. Okay. Let's go inside the Holman Bible Atlas. Let me show you guys something about the Euphrates and about the Euphrates and Iraqi marshlands. Okay, so here, right here on page number 3, or should I say number 3, because the maps go by numbers. Number 3, you can see the map of Mesopotamia, right? There go Israel right there. That is the tip of the Euphrates, right here near the bottom, and near the top, you see the Tigris. Euphrates, this is the Euphrates, this is the Tigris. Okay, so you see how they both flow kind of east and west, and kind of also east south, but east and west, and also north when you look at the map, right? But again, the Euphrates is near the bottom, as you can see right here, and the Tigris is right here. The Euphrates at the bottom, right? You see right here, Euphrates, that's the Euphrates. That's the Tigris. Okay? So the Tigris runs right above the Euphrates. And it continues all the way down. Right? The Euphrates starts about right up here. It runs all the way around. Now the Euphrates continue all the way down. You see? All the way down. You see that? That's the Euphrates. It goes all the way down. Then it comes, you see this green, like this green area right here? Right in here. You see like a green, this is the Iraqi marshlands right here. And this is the Tigris. You see? That's the Tigris. That's Euphrates. They meet up. They meet up together right here. And it stops. And it becomes shallow waters. Shallow waters, and it flows right through here. All of this is the Iraqi marshlands. Shallow waters, all this area. See this little green, this green area right here? In fact, let me blow it up a little bit. It's kind of dark, you see? It's kind of dark. It's kind of dark in this area right here. You see this right here? All this area? This is the Iraqi marshlands right here. So the Euphrates is here. The Tigris is right here. They meet up and it stops. It ends right here. The Euphrates and the Tigris ends right here. And it flows into the Iraqi marshlands, which is right here. All of this is Iraqi marshlands, where people live on. This is little towns and shallow waters and land. Again, towns, little towns, shallow waters and land. So no ships can go through here. And then the Iraqi marshland ends right here. That's the Persian Gulf. Game over. No ships came through. Because right here, no ships can go through here because the Euphrates ends and the Tigris ends right here. It flows right into the Iraqi marshlands. Now let's go read about what it says about the Tigris and the Euphrates. Look what it says here. The Tigris and Euphrates. See, it talks about Mesopotamia and Abraham, home of Abraham. I'm not going to read that part. Let's go right here one more time. The Tigris and Euphrates. It says the Tigris and Euphrates rivers dominate Mesopotamia. Both rivers originate in the high mountains. Let's go see. Originate in the high mountains. These are the high mountains up here. See? You got the Tigris up here. The Euphrates up here. This is the high mountains. Originate in the high mountains. But they both flow. But they both flow. And they end right here. They flow right into the Iraqi marshlands. Let's go back and continue now. They both originate in the high mountains of the eastern Turkey. See? Flow south. See? South and southeastward, as I just said, to the Persian Gulf. See? The Persian Gulf. Large distances separate the rivers. See? For most of their journey. But near Baghdad, they converge to within 20 miles of each other before what? Diverging again. Then it says, I have underlined, near the head of the Persian Gulf, the rivers merge into what, folks? Marshlands. Let's go back to the map. Marshlands. As you can see in the video. Marshlands. It ends right here. Both of them meet up right here and they flow right into the Iraqi marshlands. Where you see this little gray area. This is marshlands right here. This is where people live on. It's basically called land and shallow waters where no ships can go through. And they have little towns. Okay? Land and shallow water. For all of you mental retard, special ed Negroes who learn from these camps, it's a wrap. It is over. It is finished. Okay? How they say, let the fat lady sing, it's over. It's done. Like Christ said when he was on the cross, it is finished. The job is done. It said, let's read it one more time. The Tigris and Euphrates River dominate Mesopotamia. Both rivers originate in the high mountains of eastern Turkey. See, eastern Turkey. Turkey is right up here in the high mountains. See? Eastern Turkey. And flow southeastward to the Persian Gulf. Large distance separate the rivers for most of their journey. But near Baghdad, which is Iraq, that's why it's called the Iraqi marshlands, they converge into within 20 miles of each other before diverging again. Then it says, near the head of the Persian Gulf, the rivers merge into the Iraqi marshlands. A feature characteristic of both ancient and modern times. The Euphrates, look what it says, is 1,780 miles long. That's how long the Euphrates is. 1,780 miles long. Okay, so all the way from the tip of the mountains in Turkey, the Euphrates. Many of these parts is shallow waters. Some parts is deep waters. Some parts is shallow waters. All the way down here, over 1,000 miles long. You know how long that is? That's way longer than driving from New York City to North Carolina. That's way longer than that. So of course there are going to be shallow waters along the way. Not all the Euphrates is deep waters, folks. That's why the Babylonians and the Persians and the Assyrians, they knew exactly where to cross. They knew all the crossing spots. Abraham, Jacob, they knew all the crossing spots. Even when the Greeks came down there, when the Greeks first went up in this area, they knew where to cross at. They knew all the crossing shallow water parts. So you think that the Euphrates is, and the Tigris is going to be over 1,000 miles long, but not have no shallow parts where people can walk right through? That goes to show you that many of these clowns, I believe, when they was in high school, they was not that bright. Now, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Many of them were not that bright in high school. I can tell they was not that bright. Many of these brothers in these camps, when they was in high school, they was in the lower classes. I'm not making fun of nobody, but it's a fact. They was in the lower classes. Some of them probably was even in special ed classes. They got older. They found out there was Hebrew Israelites, and they can't read. Their reading comprehension is off. That's why they can't comprehend 2nd Esdras when it says the narrow.
Welcome to Zion National Park. My name is Jonathan. Zion is a popular national park where visitors come to immerse themselves within the grandeur of the canyon's cliffs and to challenge themselves with one of our many scenic and adventurous hikes. One of our more popular hikes visitors come to enjoy is the unique Narrows, a hike in a canyon that in places is only 20 to 30 feet wide. However, unlike most hikes, taking on the Narrows means actually traveling upstream through the Virgin River on uneven, slippery, and rocky river boulders. Due to the risks of a hike like this, proper preparation is imperative, both for your safety and your enjoyment. Every hiker in the Narrows should have closed-toed shoes, even just your regular hiking boots.
Narrow. A narrow passage. Narrow waters is shallow waters, folks. Whenever you see narrow waters, it's shallow waters. And that is the problem. Many of these brothers, they lack reading comprehension because they was never bright. They was never bright in the first place. They became older, grown men, etc., but they was never bright growing up. Many of them was not. I'm telling you all, they was never bright people. That's why they lack reading comprehension. That's why they're going around talking about the narrow, talking about ships going into the waters, because many of these brothers was never bright. But let's pray for these brothers and hope God put wisdom and open up their brains so they can become bright and develop reading comprehension, right? So it says one more time, the Euphrates is over 1,780 miles long. It is longer and slower than the Tigris. So it's a little longer than the Tigris. Both more suited for transportation. Two major tributaries. Okay, do you guys know what a tributary is? It says the Balkai, spelled B-A-L-I-K-H, and Habor join the Euphrates. Wherever you see the tributaries, it's shallow waters, folks. One more time. Both more suited for transportation. Two major tributaries at the Debolic and Habor. Debolic and Habor. The word Habor is in the Bible. It talks about when the Assyrians carried the Jews into captivity. He placed them in Halah and by the rivers of Gozan and Habor, etc. That's in the Bible. So it's a Debolic, by Debolic and Habor. That is the tributary. The tributary is a place where shallow waters is at. Let's go back to the map one more time. Again, the tributaries, see the Habor right here. Habor, like in the Bible. He placed them by Habor. And there go this little river here called the Bolic. You see that how they join right here? The Bolic joins the Euphrates. And the same thing with the river Habor. It joins the Euphrates. You see? And the Tigris is right up here. But right in here is a tributary. Same thing here, the tributary. The tributary usually is a place of shallow waters where you can walk right through. And Iraq have many other shallow waters But that's a major part of walking through right here. Right here. Those are two major parts right there. But along the way, all the way down, the Euphrates and the Tigris both have a lot of shallow waters. And again, they both meet up right here and it ends right here. Both of them ends and flow into the Iraqi marshlands where no ships can go. And then at the end or the tip or the southeast of the Iraqi marshlands, that's the Persian Gulf, starts right here. Now, ships can go into the Persian Gulf, but not here. Ships cannot go into the Iraqi marshlands, right? And from the Persian Gulf, we know, go all the way down to what folks? The Indian Ocean around Africa. Game over. But let's read this part here. Also, it says both the Tigris and Euphrates annually flooded. God held still to what, folks? The flood.
When you're planning your trip into the Narrows, you should also be aware of the flash flood potential. Afternoon thunder showers are possible throughout the year and a potential hazard to those hiking in the slot canyons like the Narrows. During these events, the river can quickly turn into a torrent of powerful rushing water, doubling and tripling in volume. Stop by the visitor center to speak with a ranger to get the most up-to-date conditions and the flash flood potential.
God held still to what, folks? The flood in certain areas so they can go right through. It says autumn and winter rains in combination. But one more time, let me read this part one more time. One more time. Near the head of the Persian Gulf, the rivers merge into a marshland. So there you have it. No more discussion. Game is over. Checkmate, whatever you want to call it. The 10 tribes did not come to the Americas. They went south, back towards the homeland, Jerusalem, as we proved over and over in our presentations. We may go over it one more time now that we already killed it for sure. The 10 tribes went back towards Jerusalem. Many of them decided to remain behind in Jerusalem, while the others went right into Africa, in which in ancient times, the nation of Israel was really part of Africa. So they crossed the Euphrates, they went south. Let me grab my pointer. They crossed the Euphrates along this, who know what part of Euphrates, wherever shallow waters they crossed the Euphrates using wagons and horses and mules and donkeys and chariots as mentioned in the Bible, all through the Bible. They crossed the Euphrates. They went right back south towards Israel. Many of them decided to stay in the land, while the others went into Africa. That's what happened. Not according to my mouth, not according to the words of Yehudah, not according to the words of Qanath, not according to the words of Shasham, not according to anybody who you niggas call Negro only. Like it's something wrong with being Negro. Like it's something wrong when Jacob and his family went into Israel or Negro. Came out of Egypt, led by Moses by the thousands or Negro. But all of a sudden, it's something wrong with being black or black peoples or black tribes.